Hi, so today I'd like to talk about a really excellent resource that I use for helping children to transition into my service. And it's this book, which is Owl Babies by Martin Waddell and illustrated by Patrick Benson. And it's a really good resource that helps children understand that it's okay to be away from our parents for a while. It doesn't mean that they don't love us, they still love us, they still take care of us, and they will be back. So it's okay to be separated from our parents for a little while. And, at certain times of the year, we all know that's something that we all need to kind of navigate and negotiate. And this is a really good resource for helping you to do that. So if I was using this particular version of the book, I would mention, of course, obviously, I would talk about who wrote it and who illustrated it, and get children familiar with those terms, author, illustrator, and what, those jobs entail. And I'd also mention that, it's a hardback book because, if I tap it, I can hear it. But this is actually a board book. So I'd say, well, hang on a second, actually I can hear the pages as well and I can't bend them. So, getting them used to different versions of books, hardbacks, softbacks, board books. And I'd ask them to look at the cover and see if they can figure out what the book might be about. Even actually asking children, what kind of animal do they think it's about. Not all children are very familiar with the names of different animals, even that alone. So what I'd really like to show you in this book is the really, really fantastically rich illustrations. They're excellent, really quality stuff, and actually full of colours that wouldn't traditionally be associated with children's books, which are, as we know, are normally very kind of colourful. These colours are quite muted, very autumnal, and actually very accurate, so no underselling things here, accurate stuff for children, which is very valuable. And if you think of, a lot of children entering our services in the ECC free year, when are they coming into us? In autumn, when we are speaking of these colours. It's a big conversation at the time. So, very apt. So when I'm using the book, or any book, I'm trying to get children, I'm trying to invite them into the book and invite them into the story. So one way I would do that is to, I wonder what's going to happen on the next page, to guess what's happening on the next page. Another thing that I would use in books, perhaps not so much in this one, but other ones, is to have a look. How do they look to you? Do they look happy? Do they look worried? Do they look tired? And it really kind of increases that emotional intelligence with children. That they're looking for signs, physical, communication cues to help them identify how others are feeling. And of course, in that helps them to speak about how they are feeling. So I'd try and build a sense of wonder, what's happening in the story, or wonder what's happening next, what do you think is going to be on the next page. And I might do a little, ooh, trying to build that suspense. Something else that I would speak about, if I can find a relevant page here, because I know there's a couple in, is, say, for instance, here. I would say, oh, actually, hang on, why are these words bigger than these words? So obviously not initially, when children first come in, when they're used to, how you read a story, and you build that practice up. And you don't want to hit them with lots of information and lots of questions right the first time. You build, and that's why how you get more and more from a story every time you use it as well. So I would ask, why do they think, and so of course getting them to understand the idea that if something's written really big, it's really loud or very important. So getting them used to that idea that books aren't just about, and especially obviously picture books, they're not just about hearing a story being read to them. That looking at the pages gives them clues as to what is happening. So it's a kind of multi-dimensional experience getting involved in a book, and they're given clues, apart from the actual words. It's how those words are presented, how the images are presented. There's lots of information, rich information to be gathered from the book. So I must say that Martin Waddell is one of my favourite children's authors, and I can think of so many fantastic ones that he's written. Farmer Duck is another excellent one, that really explores that idea of, being selfless and looking after others and thinking of others and working together and teamwork, and also really fantastic illustrations in that one too. So I think you can probably gather that I put a lot of value in the worth of books when it comes to guiding children through experiences and guiding children through difficulties. But not only that, of course, also instilling interest in them and fostering the interest that they already have. I think it's a really nice idea to have a lending library where you can lend books and bring them home. And, when parents are reading this book at home, and discussing, opening up discussions about, hang on, I won't be there for a little while, but I will be back, really helpful as well. And then, of course, you always get books from home as well. And you very often get books you've never come across before, which are fantastic books. And, so it's a two-way process, where obviously you are inviting children into your books, but they're inviting you into theirs as well. And I've had so many really fantastic occasions throughout my years in practice where I've been introduced to new stories, wonderful stories by children, and I'm very grateful for it. So I think when you have a real interest in those books, when you have a real graw for them, that filters down, it cascades down. And, if you really believe they're going to be a rich resource for you, they will be. Thank you.